Now more than ever, listings are the name of the game. Today I'm going to share with you listing lead generation ideas that'll definitely help your business grow. With all the change happening in the real estate market and the business as a whole, with lawsuits and settlements and all the things going on, one thing has stayed consistent. The person who controls the listings controls the market. So what can you do to get past some of these things? And the answer is just simply go out and generate more listings. So I'm going to go through today, give you 30 specific strategies that you can use. I'm going to hit them pretty rapid fire. A couple of these, if you want more details, you can search on our YouTube channel and we'll have more of those. But listen, if you're wanting to grow your real estate business, make sure you've subscribed to our channel. Also, hit the little bell. It'll let you know when we post the new videos every maybe 2 to 3 times a week. All right, let's start with some foundational pieces. Number one is geographical farming. Having an area where you're known as the expert is the best way for you to consistently generate listing opportunities. This involves direct mail. This involves getting involved in the community. This involves providing information, hosting open houses in the geographical farm, all of the things that you can do. If you're curious about how to know exactly how to choose the right farm and do those things, there's a link above where I go into very deep details on exactly how you can find a place that you can dominate. The second way to generate listings is to call Airbnb owners. Now, you have to understand that when we went through the pandemic, a lot of people, it was just the thing to do was to go own an Airbnb. And then they actually had to start managing that rental, and it wasn't nearly as fun as they thought. Also, we saw people staying in Airbnbs a lot more during the pandemic. Now they're moving around a little more, and some of the revenues in a lot of these areas are down. They post their information a lot of times right online, or you can get those details. But basically calling these folks and just simply saying, hey, I saw that you own the place over on whatever street it is that you're utilizing as an Airbnb rental. Just curious how that's going for you. Is this something that you still enjoy? Are you considering buying another place, or are you considering repositioning or just simply getting out of the business? Asking these questions in a way gives you the ability to find a potential person who is possibly thinking about getting out of this business or is thinking about buying an additional one. So not only does it give you the ability to potentially generate listings, it also gives you the ability to find an investor that's probably going to be pretty active as well. Number 3 is to produce searchable YouTube content for sellers in your area. Now, this can involve 7 things that you need to know before listing your home for sale in whatever your city is. This could be specific to neighborhoods where you're talking about the neighborhood. You're giving an overview. It shows you as an expert on that neighborhood. When you produce searchable YouTube content, it begins to work passively and prospect for you even when you're sleeping or you're not out there making those phone calls. We've got Noah Escobar in our office who has done this. You can check out his YouTube channel. But what he's done is by producing specific content that's searchable about specific neighborhoods, it's led to buyers, and it's also led to opportunities for him to be seen as the expert for that local neighborhood. I can't encourage you enough to go out there and do this. What it's done for him is now he has over 7 hours per day that people are watching his YouTube channel, which means that he is passively prospecting 7 hours a day for something that he did months, weeks ago that is now continuing to produce for him. Produce the searchable YouTube content and you're going to get more listing opportunities. Number 4 is circle prospecting around recent sales. NAR statistics tell us that 15% of owners after a sale in their neighborhood are going to consider selling within 3 weeks. Now, this means that, it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to sell right now, but they're considering that option after a recent sale. By being the resource that calls the neighbors around it, says, hey, I don't know whether you saw the details or not, but your neighbor 4 doors down just recently sold their home. If you'd like the details, I'll be glad to provide those for you. Once you've done that, begin the conversation. Then at the end of the conversation, simply say, if it doesn't come around, listen, I'd be the worst realtor in the world if I didn't at least ask if there's a price where you guys might consider selling. You see, when you get around activity, other activity is typically going to happen pretty soon after it happens. Line yourself up where you have the opportunity to maximize the opportunity to get those listings. Number 5 is start a neighborhood Facebook group or a local blog on a specific neighborhood. You see, when you begin to act as the resource or the person who throws the party, now you have the ability to add value in a unique way. So if you find a neighborhood that doesn't have a local Facebook group, just simply set it up and invite the owners to be a part of it. Add value in that. Don't be salesy. Also, if we're talking about a blog, basically just write content about the sales activity, the history of that neighborhood. become searchable on Google as the person who's the resource for that. Then as you're marketing to that neighborhood or that area, begin to share the fact that you've written these blog posts on this. Begin to show yourself as that resource, as that expert on that neighborhood or that area, and you're absolutely going to get more listing opportunities. Number 6 is to host going away parties for your listings that are selling. Now, what this does is it gives you the ability to throw the party, so to speak, where you ask the owner, hey, listen, I know that a lot of your friends would love to say goodbye before you leave this house. Could I host a party for you? You simply have to give me the names and the contact information for your folks that you want to invite. I'll take care of the food. I'll take care of the invitations. I'll take care of everything to make sure that this is a great evening for you guys to enjoy being around some of your friends and some of your neighbors in your local neighborhood. Great way for you to become the center of the party, so to speak, where you've got all their contact information. They're going to introduce you to everyone at the party as their realtor, the person who made it happen, and it's going to absolutely give you the ability to widen your sphere of influence into those areas for the sellers that are happy with you and give you more opportunities to find those listings you're absolutely looking for. Number 7 is to buy lunch, not leads. This is something Howdy Harris taught me years ago, and basically instead of spending your money marketing to try to find buyers where the online buyer conversion rate is 2% or less, why not take the time and the money on a daily basis, 3 times a week, to have lunch, invite a lunch or coffee with someone in your sphere of influence or past client just to check in, just to deepen a relationship. By deepening those relationships, you encourage them to send you referrals even without asking them. The law of reciprocity goes to work for you. Also, by deepening those relationships, it gives you the ability to put on lock the opportunity for you to do repeat business with those customers in the future as well. Number 8 is expired listings. Listen, we can't sleep on this. This is actually people who have raised their hand and said they would be willing to sell. They just didn't have their price right or they didn't have the right agent. Don't hesitate to reach out to these folks. Now, you're going to have some competition here, so you have to be prepared with a plan of action that sets you apart. But by focusing on expired listings, you're focusing on a group of people that absolutely want to get their home sold. Number 9 is little help social media posts. Utilize the buyers that you have to actually go out and post on social media. I could use a little help. I have a buyer that is looking to buy in this area a 3-bedroom, 2-bath or larger house in this price range. If you know of anyone that is considering selling where we might be able to have a win-win for them and this buyer, please reach out, direct message me or let me know, and I'll be glad to follow up and see if it might be a good fit. This is a way for you, even if it's not the right place for your buyers, you're going to get opportunities to know what's coming on the market in the future or to identify people that are considering selling. That's going to give you that opportunity really to be ahead of the game, so to speak, and to be the person that they're talking to first when it comes to listing their home. Number 10 is host open houses. By setting yourself up in a neighborhood, hosting an open house, you're exposing yourself as far as a hustler in that neighborhood, someone who is making things happen. So, a thing that you can do ahead of time is to make sure that you're reaching out to as many of these potential other listings is to set a time where you would door knock the neighborhood, letting all of the owners in the neighborhood know, or you can make it with a phone call, that you're going to be hosting an open house on Saturday from 10 to noon. And if they'd like to stop by and beat the crowds, feel free to stop by between 9 and 10. Then you know anybody that stops by between 9 and 10 is probably someone that is an owner in the neighborhood that is comparing their house mentally, or their nosy neighbors. They're comparing their house to this house to see what the value might be, and they're probably considering selling in the near future. This is a great way by hosting open houses to have the ability to meet additional owners that might consider selling in the neighborhood where you've got a listing already. Number 11 is to market your existing listings at a higher level. Spend additional money on expert photography, expert videography, marketing pieces that stand out, the things that you're doing to market that home, because not only will it help you sell that existing home that you have listed, but it's also going to show people exactly what you do, which is different from everybody else. You also can utilize these types of videos, this type of marketing, when you go into your next listing appointment to show them, instead of just telling them what you do differently, show them exactly what it looks like. Also, it gives you the ability to stand out because it's becoming more and more valuable as the expert marketer of homes. People don't list their homes with people just because they like them. They list their homes because they believe and they see that they can get the job done. By spending extra money, extra time marketing the existing listings you have, it will compound into more opportunities. Next up, for sale by owners. Again, this is a group of people that have raised their hand and said they would sell if they could find the right buyer and they could get the right price. These are folks that have not worked with an agent, but statistics show us that eventually most of them end up listing with an agent. Be the resource. Don't go in there so hot that you're just trying to list the place. Go in at an act of service. Hey, what are the questions you have that maybe I can help with? Listen, I just want to be available to assist you and help you get it sold yourself, but if there comes a point where you can't get it sold and that you'd like to interview agents, I'd love to be one of the agents that you interview to see if I can help you get it sold. Again, come from a place of value, consistently add value to that group, and the opportunities will show themselves over time. Next up is unsolicited video CMAs. This is one of the main strategies I've used to teach agents how to generate listings. I did it in my own business. I did it for one a day for 72 days. In the last quarter of the last year I was in sales, generated over $11 million. We're seeing consistently this giving opportunities to agents to generate listings when other things aren't working. So if you're curious about how to do this, there's a link above, show you exactly how to break this down, how to record your screen, who to send it to, and the timeliness of the follow-up that will help you get those listings. Next up is to focus on 6 to 18 month old expired listings. I mentioned the expired listings earlier, and you're gonna have a ton of competition, but if they do not list, if they do not sell, and they get to about a month and a half, 2 months, the calls stop coming because as real estate agents, we are not the best at follow-up and being consistent with that follow-up. If you can find those 6 to 18 month listings in your MLS that expired 6 to 18 months ago, look and see if they've sold, look and see if they are under contract or they've relisted, and those that have not, calling that group and simply saying, hey, I noticed where you had your place for sale 6 months ago and that it's not currently on the market. Just curious what you guys have planned for that home and if you would still consider selling your home. Start the conversation. Begin to add value. There will be less of a clutter, so to speak, of other agents that are pursuing these listings, and that's going to give you an edge that you're looking for. Next up is ask for referrals. Listen, that may sound simple, but how many times are you asking people to send you referrals? How many times are you saying, hey, listen, I just want to thank you in advance for keeping me top of mind if you hear somebody that's considering selling their home. I'd love to give them the service that I've given you in the past, or you know that I'll treat them like family, so please keep me in mind when you hear those opportunities. Simply asking for referrals is absolutely going to position you where you want to be as far as getting those listings. Next up is pay attention to the agents that are getting out of the business that have done a few deals over the last few years. Most times those agents were working with buyers. Buyers become sellers. So going to those agents that have recently gotten out of the business and just saying, hey, listen, I know that you are out of the business now, but I know that you probably had some specific clients that you really built some great relationships with. Listen, I just want to assure you that if you would entrust me and make an introduction to me, I would be glad to treat them like family and give them the service that I know they're used to with you. Also, you still have your license and if you have it parked somewhere, I'd be glad to send you a referral for any of those people that you refer to me that you make those introductions on. Listen, if you focus in on the people that have gotten out of the business recently that still have those relationships, you have the ability to bridge from the relationships they had to those folks having a relationship with you. Next up, focus on probate listings. Probate listings are basically where someone passes away, they own a home, and in most cases there is an executor of the estate that is set that has the ability to list the home prior to even it settling out. The executor's job is to liquidate the asset. So in many cases, they're going to be looking for someone that can help them get an accurate idea of the value. They're going to be looking at someone that can get it sold, and they're going to want to get it listed and sold as quick as possible so that they can distribute the assets out to those folks that are mentioned in the will or that are part of that probate. Focusing in on the listings that are absolutely going to come consistently, unfortunately, is a great place to have some consistency with the number of leads that you're getting when it comes to those listings. Next up is to join a BNI or lead sharing group. These groups are set up specifically where the price of admission, so to speak, is that you bring a referral to someone in the group every single time that y'all meet. And vice versa. They bring a referral for you or for someone in the group when they come in. Joining these groups, becoming someone who partners with other people that are looking to grow their business is a great way for you to find some of those leads you're looking for. Next up is using buyers as bait. This sounds worse than it actually is, but let's say that you have a buyer that you haven't been able to find that specific place for, or you have another agent in your office that has someone that is looking for a very specific type of home or property in a very specific location. Calling the owners in that location and simply saying, hey, this is Jimmy Burgess with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Beach Properties of Florida. Listen, I just wanted to give you a call. We've got someone that we're working for that is wanting to purchase specifically in your neighborhood. and is really willing to possibly pay a premium if they find the right place because they haven't been able to yet. Just curious if you've heard of any of your neighbors that would consider selling. Listen, you don't even have to ask them if they're considering selling. By asking about their neighbors, if they're considering selling, they will absolutely let you know. This is a great way to utilize and do a little extra hustle, so to speak, for those buyers that you've got that you haven't been able to find something for, to generate opportunities for listings as well. Next up is utilize ChatGPT to write specific types of content that is going to be driven towards sellers in your local area. You can ask it to write you a series for LinkedIn on 5 articles that potential listings would find interesting from a real estate agent. Ask it to write 7 things to consider before putting your home on the market in your local area. Ask it to write an article on the 5 biggest mistakes that people make when listing their home for sale in your local neighborhood. You see, when you utilize ChatGPT or artificial intelligence, the production of that ideal content for your ideal listing clients becomes a lot easier. Next up is door knocking, and I mentioned a little bit about door knocking before open houses earlier, but you can also do this with recent sales or activity that's happening in a specific neighborhood as something that just came on the market, something that has just recently sold. By being face-to-face with people, you're going to have the ability to connect with them on a different level. Next up is producing behind-the-scenes content on the process of marketing a listing. You know, sometimes people just assume we just put the sign in the yard, put it in the MLS, and pray that a buyer comes along. But what is it that you could do to document this on Instagram stories, for instance? Hey, today I'm going to be hosting an open house. Ride along with me. Show them you putting the signs out. Show them with you posting on social media. Show them the process of that. Hey, today I'm going to be actually putting out all the content on a new listing. This is my process of getting it prepared, posting it on Facebook, posting on Instagram, posting on LinkedIn, preparing for the video. When you show people the process, it gives you the ability to really stand out from all of the other agents. Next up is take full advantage of the signs that you can put in your existing listings. Make sure that you have a take one box that has details on the home as well as additional information. Utilize a QR code on your sign that gives you the ability to send people to your website and capture them after they look at a couple of different pictures. Make sure there's a strong call to action. By maximizing the sign opportunities to advertise you as an active agent in the local market, you're definitely going to be setting yourself apart. Next up is just sold postcards that are stories. Don't just send it another one sold. Send the story of the process. We listed this home for this. We hosted an open house that had 22 people. We posted it on social media. We recorded the video. We had 14 showings in 1 week. We had 3 offers and we accepted the offer and we went under contract within 6 days. Show the process. Talk about the story of how you got them from listing the home to sold, and that's going to be a difference that you're looking for. Next up is maximizing your seller testimonials. There was a statistic that's out there now that says that 84% of people they actually trust an online review as much as a personal recommendation now. So how do we maximize these? Once you get these from these sellers that have been pleased with your process, that you absolutely fulfilled everything they wanted and needed, take those testimonials they give you, those reviews that they've done, post them on social media, get a video with them. Make sure that you're giving people an understanding of some of the people you've already worked with, and that's going to build the trust you need to get those additional listings. Next up is optimize your Google My Business page. Now, people are going to search for you before they do business with you. One of the ways that you can maximize this is to have consistent content on there, but make sure that you're focusing the majority of your reviews to be focused there. Google reviews do not have to be a documented seller. That could be someone that you do business with. That could be someone that referred people to you from another market. That could be anyone in your sphere of influence. Maximize your reviews and optimize your Google My Business page, and you're definitely going to move yourself to a whole other level. Call owners of rentals that were rented 6 months ago. Typically, a residential rental is going to be for a 1-year time period, and a lot of times when the market is shifting like it is, you will find that some of those investors on those rental properties will actually go out and they will be considering 6 months in advance whether they're going to either re-rent this place or potentially sell the place. It's also a great bridge to find investors that might be looking to buy additional properties. So not only can you generate listings with this, but you can find clients that might be doing multiple transactions on an annual basis. Next up is to host a client appreciation event. There's nothing that says thank you and gets the law of reciprocity working better for you than having a group of satisfied clients that meet together. Hosting these events will definitely set you apart from others. Next up is divorce attorneys. Unfortunately, with all of the divorces, there's a statistic that over half of the people that go through a divorce have to sell real estate. So this is an area where you can really add service to some people that probably want to just move on, and it gives you the opportunity to be in front of this if you can build those relationships with some of those divorce attorneys by giving value when value is needed. Last but not least is focus on out-of-town owners. Out-of-town owners typically don't have as much emotion involved with their places. Also, it may be out of sight, out of mind. By reaching out to these folks, you have the ability to be their local resource, not if, but when they decide to sell that property. Focusing on listings will absolutely move your business to a whole other level. I hope these have been helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.